way to problem solve. That way, no. What the heck is happening with my camera? Okay, y'all. It is cold. What is happening? I moved north and something went crazy. So, sorry if I do a little seasick. Good. I guess we're good. Finished. All right. So, oh, technical difficulties. All right, hey, Terry. All right. So it looks like my Wi-Fi might be a little clunky, so I'm gonna apologize in advance for that. Um, yeah, it's cold, you guys. So today I'm going to recommend that you have a blanket or some socks, or that it's warm enough in your environment that you're not going to be sad if we're not moving a lot, right? Because if you're moving and working, it's not as bad, right? But if you're moving a little more gently and slowly, sometimes it can be a little chilly. So make sure you're comfortable. Any props that you ever want to use, of course, 100% cool, right? But today we're going to kind of keep it a little low, a little calm, chill, right? And we are going to end a little bit early because I've got to drive on icy roads, and I'm not super excited about that. So maybe we will be good. Anyhow, so we're going to start seated. And even with a gentle practice, there might be poses that your body's just not happy with, right? Certain twists, back bends, whatever it might be. Just remember to always pay attention to what your body needs. And if it's not right for you, don't worry, right? There's not a certain pose that you get that all of a sudden gives you a little right? You're good. It just doesn't work like that. So do what you can, and don't worry about what you can't do. So starting seated here, obviously, we want to align the heels as much as we can. And then make sure that you feel like you're upright on your pelvis, right? So if you feel like you're rocking side to side or leaning forward or back, if you want to use a block, again, props are 100% cool. And then, my brain is quick here. Relax the inner hips. That should help engage your lower belly. But if it didn't, lift your pelvic floor and pull that lower belly in and up, keeping that inner hip relaxed. Get tall through your sides, and then drop your shoulders down and back. And it's not a back bend, but most of us sit with the shoulders rolling forward and the head coming forward. So even when we're in this kind of neutral position, it might feel very weird. So relax those shoulders, let your elbows just hang, your hands can be wherever is comfortable. Imagine the crown of your head moving toward the ceiling. Close your eyes. And just be here. Notice things without judging them, right? So like my nose is full of big deep. My neck feels weird because I slept funny. Whatever it might be, just notice these things. And if they're worth paying attention to in your practice, please do. But otherwise, just notice it and let it go. You don't have to think about things just because we notice them. Bring that same sense of awareness to your breath, just watching it. You want to breathe all through the nose. And with the next exhalation, get really empty. Dump it all out. Pull that upper belly as tight as you can, getting all that stale junk air from the bottom of your lungs out, and then inhale deep. Let your upper belly poke out, and the air is drawn deep into the lungs. So your upper belly should really move. And then pull it back in and get empty again. Empty, 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 empty. Inhale, stick that belly out and draw that air really deep into the lungs. And just notice how different that feels from how we normally breathe. Emptying out again. Do that one more time. Get really, really, really empty. And then inhale, really deep. Inhaling empty. Change this one up. We're going to inhale deep. When you're full there, imagine expanding wide through your side ribs and fill up through your side ribs like you could touch them to your inner arms. And then as you exhale, pull the rib cage together, pull that lower belly in, and get really, really empty again. Again, like that, inhaling deep and wide. Exhaling empty. Do that one more time. Getting empty, empty, empty. And then inhale deep, wide. And then continue to inhale until you could not take another sip of air. Your lungs will pop. They won't really pop, but you get it. And then think exhaling from the top, through the middle, to the bottom, getting empty. Again, like that. Inhale deep, wide, full as you can be. And empty. One more time like that. When you're empty, allow the breath to stay a little deeper than normal. And think about those really deep breaths into the belly. Trying to maintain a little bit of that at least. And then stay connected to this nice deep breath. And even if you were just to sit here and breathe, that's still a really lovely practice on the days that you need that. But today, let's extend the arms out to the sides, and with the inhale, stretch them up to the ceiling. Exhale and bring them back down again. Sitting nice and tall, again like that. One more time. When your hands touch the floor, open your eyes if you feel like you need to. We're going to bring ourselves around into hands and knees. Feeling the wrists under the shoulders, spread those fingers nice and wide. Nice and even across the four corners of the hands. And then with the breath here, on your inhale, drop your belly toward the floor. And exhale the spine toward the ceiling. In and out like that. Moving as evenly up and down the spine as you can. Taking just a few more flows. Once more in each direction. Finding center. From our center here, we're gonna take the right hand, palm up, and leave it under. Maybe just drop the elbow to the floor in the middle of the mat here. Maybe continue to extend the arm to the left and drop the shoulder down. Rest your head, leaning on the shoulder more than the head. Right? Leaning on your neck. And then just a gentle little twist. If and when you're ready for more, you can kind of use the floor. So pressing that right arm into the mat, pressing the left hand into the mat, point the elbow toward the ceiling. Even on the knees and long through your spine. One more breath here. And then we're gently going to work our way out of that, back into all fours. And then from the center here, go ahead and switch sides, taking the left hand, moving it underneath, whether it's your elbow or your shoulder to the middle of the mat, you decide. And maybe it's your elbow for a minute, and then the shoulder will come, right? Just see where you need to be. Make sure you're leaning on your shoulder, not your head. Opening up into that twist as much or as little as you're ready for this morning. And then we'll gently make our way back up into our all fours. So instead of being in tabletop here, let's go ahead and move the hands forward and hand print torso. And shift into kneeling plank. So making sure the belly is still engaged, the shoulders are neutral on the back here. Taking that right foot over to the right and opening the body to the left. So right hand, right knee, left foot, all in this nice long line. The left hand can remain at your hip, it can extend toward the ceiling, it can come overhead. And then we're going to release that back into our kneeling plank. And switch sides. So this left foot over to the left, opening the body to the right, and then you decide what to do from here. Let's make our way back to kneeling plank. Lifting the knees away from the floor. And then lifting the hips, moving toward down dog. So just let yourself wiggle, stretch a little bit here. Staying focused on the four corners of the hands. Nice big breaths. And then settle into your down dog, sinking your heels toward the floor, pressing your chest back, letting your head just hang. Keeping what you have, let's go ahead and lift the right leg and press through the heel. Keep the chest pressing back, head is hanging released. Open your right hip. So keeping the shoulders as level as you can, open the hip, turning your right toes toward the sidewall. Bending the knee if you'd like to bend the knee, pointing it up toward the ceiling. And then we're going to release that side. Switching, lift the left. Pressing through both heels here. Keep your shoulders level as you lift the left hip. Bend at the knee if you like. Releasing the left leg. Let's drop down to the knees and go ahead and sit back in child's pose. Let yourself really rest here. Sinking into the hips. Imagine your hips moving back toward your heels. Maybe they touch, maybe they don't worry about that. If you really want to let your shoulders relax, taking the hands back by the feet, or you can stack your fists to rest your head. Just make yourself ultra comfortable here. And I know child's pose is not always great early, right? Or if you're cold. So just give yourself a break. Do what feels right for you. Take another nice deep breath. And then extend the arms forward and move back to your down dog again. So from our down dog here, we're going to step that left foot roughly halfway to the hands, turning the toes out to the left. So that foot's going to be flat. We're going to roll to the outside edge of the right foot and then bring the left hand to the hip. So we're in another version of the side plank like we were earlier. You can absolutely have that right knee on the floor if you need it. So again, this left hand can maybe extend toward the ceiling, maybe move overhead. You decide what to do with it. Nice big breaths, nice and even on the four corners of the right hand. The belly is engaged. And then let's make our way back to our down dog. We're going to switch sides, bringing the right foot roughly halfway up, turning the toes out, rolling to the outside of the left foot. Keep it flexed so the left ankle is happy. Right? And then the right hand to the hip, to the ceiling, overhead, wherever it needs to be. Make your way back to down dog. And go ahead and drop on down to your child's pose again. Just a couple more nice big breaths, kind of sinking into it, maybe even a little deeper already. Extending the arms if they're not already, and making your way back to down dog. So this time, instead of stepping your left foot halfway up, see about stepping your left foot all the way to your hands, coming into a lunge. If they don't make it on their own, don't worry about it. Drop your right knee and wiggle your toes up so that the knee and ankle are stacked. Allow yourself to kind of roll around into your hips a little bit. Find a center here and imagine pulling your legs toward each other. Extend out the crown of your head. And let's take the left leg straight, or straight-ish. Remember, you can prop. Don't worry if the knee's a little bent, if you need to support on the thigh. Just find a nice stretch. And then bend back into the knee, dropping into the hips. So keep that idea of pulling the legs toward each other. The right hand's going to stand on the floor, the left hand's going to come to your hip, and we can twist here. So if you want a little more for your twist, imagine hugging your left knee and right shoulder toward each other. And this left hand can stay at the hip, it can extend overhead, or you can move it behind your back and sort of draw against the right hip a little bit to give yourself a deeper twist. Take a couple more breaths here. And then release it. Taking the left leg straight again. Let's bend back into the knee. Drop into the hips. And we're going to climb up on the left thigh here. Lift the chest, come nice and vertical with the upper body as much as you can. Keep those hips sinking. The chest is open, so the shoulders are still down and back. Arms can be wherever you want, right? So supporting, maybe interlace behind your back, maybe lifting toward the ceiling. You decide. Take one more big breath. And we're going to release it, making our way back to down dog. So from here, same idea on the second side. Step your right foot forward. Drop the left knee. Adjust your toes if they're not where you need them to be. Let yourself roll around into your hips over here a little. And then finding your center, pull the legs toward each other. And extend the right leg. Take your time. Prop if you need to prop. Bend the knee. Descend into the hips. Keeping the spine nice and long. Left hand where it is. Right hand to the hip this time. And we rotate around. Taking that twist as deep as your body is ready for on this side. Let's gently release the twist. Take the right leg straight again. Bending back into the knee. Keep the hips low as you lift the upper body. And then add in the arms if you want to add in the arms over here. Again, interlacing, maybe cactus arms, extending toward the ceiling, hanging on for dear life on that thigh, whatever it might be. We're gently going to release it. And again here, make your way back to down dog. Dropping back down to the knees. Let's go ahead and sit up on the heels. So if this is not doable, right, remember you can always come to your seat, or you can prop up your hips with a block or stack of books or whatever you got available to you, so that the hips are a little higher and it's not as much on your knees or your hips or wherever you're feeling that. Right? So sitting nice and tall here. Let's go ahead and stretch out the shoulders. Turn. So go ahead and grab opposite shoulder. Right? Sitting nice and tall here. Imagine stacking your elbows. And they don't stack perfectly, don't worry about it. But that's the idea. Right? Releasing the hands, wind them around each other, and see if you can bring your palms to touch. And maybe they do and maybe they don't. If you can wiggle in a little bit more and readjust, see if that works. Just find a stretch across the backs of your shoulders, maybe the tops. You can feel this in the top sometimes. And then release it, roll your shoulders around. Grabbing the opposite shoulder, this time with your opposite elbow on top. So stacking them the other way. Stack them as good as they're going to stack. And then release and see if you can wind your fingers together. And you may be able to wiggle and wind a little bit more, moving a little deeper. Maybe you're just happy to have opposite shoulders. Keeping the shoulders down and relaxed. And then release this side. Roll your shoulders around a little bit. And then we're gonna move back into our hips here. So if you're sitting on a block, no problem. If you wanna open up your feet and sit on the floor between your heels, if that's you, go ahead. If you don't need a prop at all, just don't make a prop. We're gonna leave the shins where they are, but we're gonna walk the hands forward. Kind of like a kneeling plank idea. Drop down to the belly. You can plank it if you want to, of course. Think turning the tailbone toward the floor, and then press back up again. Sitting back between the heels, or on your boot. Do it again, come forward. Drop down. Turn the tailbone toward the floor, and imagine pressing your pelvis down into the mat. Push back up, and sit back between your heels. One more time like that, come forward. And down. Turn the tailbone, press your pelvis into the floor. Imagine pressing the tops of your thighs and your belly into the mat. Press back up. And sit back between your heels. So if you were already on the floor, nowhere to go, right? If you were propped up, see if you still need to be, or maybe you don't need to be as high, right? Just kind of noticing. Remember, if this is absolutely a no-go, don't worry about it. So if you're still on a prop, you're going to stay with the upper body upright. Right? You can move the prop out and bring your hands to your feet. From here, if you want to go a little deeper, listen to your body. It's cold, maybe. Start leaning back. Keeping the tail tucked toward the knees so the lower back stays safe. What about dropping down one elbow? Or two. The knees stay on the floor and even. I don't want them to fly open. If you can drop down your shoulders, feel free. Listen to your body. Keeping the back of the neck long, the lower back long. Remember, discomfort is yoga, right? Pain is bad. Gently make your way back up from wherever you went. And then slowly make your way forward, back into that tabletop. And then wiggle whatever feels like it's a little done, right? Maybe it's your ankles, maybe you want to stretch your legs, maybe you want to do a little bit of cat-cow, stretching your back. Just find what needs to move for you. We'll go ahead and come to a seat. And start by going ahead and extending your legs out long. So feet are hip bone distance apart, toes are pointing toward the ceiling. Again, here you want to make sure that you're feeling upright on your pelvis. Right? So we're sitting really tall, just like we were when we began. Right? The hands can stay down by the hips here. Reach out toward the ceiling if you like. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Hinge from the hip and come forward. When you can't hinge further, take your hands and let them fall where they do. You've been in the hamstrings though, so if you're warmer, move a little deeper. If your hamstrings are incredibly tight, then you are where you are. Take a couple more nice big breaths. With the inhale, make your way back up. And release your hands. So let's open the feet. We're going to move into a straddle. Finding a stretch, don't worry again. Be wide to feel the stretch. Feet are still flexed, toes pointing up at the ceiling. You still feel upright in your pelvis, right? So let's go ahead and reach the arms up here. Rotate around towards your left leg and then hinge over the left leg. Again, your hands just fall where they are. It's not about touching your toe. A lot of times that makes us round and we don't want to be round. Keeping the right hip rooted on the mat, extending out through the crown of the head. You can get a little twisting action here too if you like by pressing more on the left hand to kind of rotate the belly around. With an inhale, right, come back up to the top, rotate around to the right, and then do the same thing. Grounding that left sit bone, keeping the spine long, and then adding that little bit of twist. With an inhale, make your way back up, releasing your hands. Left hand under the right leg. Right arm up and over. We're moving over toward this left foot. Forget the foot. See about bringing the elbow to the inner thigh. And instead of rotating toward the floor, rotate toward the ceiling. In your mind, anyway, your belly button does not have to point up at the ceiling, although there are pictures of people with their backs laying on their leg. That doesn't have to happen to get the effect. Take another big breath. And with an inhale, we're going to make our way back up. And then switch. So the right hand over the left thigh, left arm lifting up and over. Elbow to the inner thigh here. And rotating toward the ceiling-ish. With the next inhale, we're making our way back up to the top. Release the hands to the middle. Sit up really tall here and hinge forward. Wherever forward is, just like when the feet are together. Keeping the spine long, just finding the sensation. One more nice big breath here. And then hinge back up again. Bring the feet back in. Wiggle them around a little bit. So that feels good. And then taking your right foot flat to the floor. Whether it's to the inside or outside is up to you. Right? If you can go to the outside, go to the outside. Flat to the floor, your pelvis is neutral on the mat, right? So the left leg can stay extended, or you can bring the heel in front of your right sit bone. You don't want to sit on the heel because then that makes your hips crooked. Right? So keeping the pelvis level, extra tall. Use your leg, got it, right? Wrapping the left arm around the leg, take the right hands to the back, to the floor, behind your back. And then just like we used the floor a little bit when we were twisting, you can use the floor here. So press against the right hand, sitting up a little taller, and then pull against the right leg. And maybe rotate around a little deeper. Remember, these things aren't necessary. It's just to help you modify, find where your body is supposed to be. Taking another nice big breath. And then gently releasing that. Unhook the legs. And we'll switch. So the left foot to the inside or the outside. That foot's flat, your spot, your pelvis is level, C. If the right knee will bend, sitting tall. And then adding your twist, right arm wrapping, left arm supporting, and then how much you use the floor in your leg here, again, it's up to you. Take another nice big breath. And release it back to center. Unhook your legs. Wiggle them around if you feel like you need a little extra love there. Go ahead and take the feet to the floor. Hang on to your thighs, the back of your thighs here. Tuck your chin and roll down to your back. Drawing the knees into the chest, let's just let yourself rock a little bit. Kind of shake it all out. And then take both feet flat to the floor. Crossing the left ankle over the right knee. Right? Let that knee stay open to the side as much as you can. As you take the hands and interlace the fingers behind the right thigh. Keeping your shoulders down as much as you can. Keeping the tailbone pointing toward the floor as much as you can. And then maybe pulling your right leg in toward the chest a little bit. Adding the left elbow, pressing the leg away will give you a little extra. And then make it like work here. So we're pulling toward the body with the arms, but press away from the body with that right leg. Again, trying to keep the spine as neutral as you can. Releasing, taking both feet flat. And then switch. Right ankle over left knee. Reaching back behind the left thigh. Drawing that leg toward the body as you press the right leg away, keeping the spine as neutral on the mat as you can. Adding the leg, so we're pulling with the arms and pressing with the leg. And then we'll release it. Both feet flat again. So this time here, we're going to cross the left leg over the right, but this time with your knees close, right? Like you're wearing a short skirt. So keeping the knees hugging in. If you can tuck the left foot behind the right thigh or calf, go right ahead. If not, just keep it tucked in. We're going to extend the arms out into a T position and let the legs drop over to the right. So if that foot gets in the way, just kind of tuck it under as much as you can. And then relax. Relax your shoulders. Let the legs just feel heavy. If you feel like you need a bolster underneath the right thigh, you're always welcome to do that. It's too intense. One more nice big breath. And then bring the legs back to center, but don't uncross them. Leave the left leg over the right. And then drop the legs over to the left. One more breath here. Make your way back to center. And go ahead and uncross the legs. Switch sides, so the right is over the left, with the knees as tight as you can get them, tucking the right foot if you can tuck the right foot. Let the legs fall left. Again, kind of just shifting that right foot underneath. So so that the legs can rest to the side. One more breath over here. We'll make our way back to center, keeping the legs crossed, right over left, and then drop the legs over to the right. A couple more breaths over on this side. We'll make our way back to center again. Uncrossing the legs. Go ahead and bring the soles of the feet together and just let your legs fall to the sides. And then draw the knees back in and pull them in toward your chest. Rocking a little bit, shaking it all out. Keep the knees squeezing in. Pull the forehead toward the knees and give yourself a hug. Releasing the head out into a full body stretch. And then release your stretch. Make your way into whatever Shavasana is going to be. So again, like I said, if you have a blanket or you want to put your socks on, make sure the body stays warm. It's going to be a little shorter Shavasana. Do one more thing before we end. Get yourself comfortable and warm, releasing the muscles. Taking just a few minutes to stay focused on your breath. Present in your body. Giving yourself a few minutes to rest here. If you'd like, you can absolutely turn this off and stay in Shavasana as long as you want. Otherwise, gently deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Move and stretch to reawaken the body. When you're ready, make your way to seated. Sitting well here. We're going to take the right hand, curling the index, middle, and ring fingers in. Turn the palm toward your face. Take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, use your thumb to close off your right nostril, exhaling all out the left. Inhale through your left nostril. And then close it off with your pinky and exhale out the right. Again, like that. Inhaling through the right. Close it off, exhale left. Inhale left. Close it off, exhale right. Take a few more rounds like that. As you're exhaling out the right, release your hand. And then in your mind, inhale through the right, exhale through the left. Inhale through the left, exhale through the right. One more round like that. Finding your natural breath. And bring the palms to touch. Bowing to the light within. Namaste. So hopefully you can freeze to death wherever you are. Enjoy your weekend. Hopefully it'll warm up. I think it's supposed to anyway. And remember, if you have any suggestions, any comments, any requests, right, certainly let me know. And I will see you next week. Have a great week, you guys. Thanks for watching. Hey, Jane.